Hello guys and welcome once again to another setup video on Assetto Corsa Competizione on the PlayStation 5. Today we're at Silverstone and we are in the BMW M4 GT3. Coming across the line to begin the lap then, and we're going to be braking just before the 50 board on the left, down into 4th gear and then making sure you don't run out wide on the exit. It's very easy to do. Then I'm going to move the traction control down to 0 because there's a bump in the road here and it makes the traction control engage. Traction control back up to 2 for the rest of the lap, down to 4th for the first part of Maggots Beckett's and then down into 3rd. And you want to try and take a late-ish apex through the final part so you can get on the power as early as possible. If you get on the power late heading onto the hanger straight, you lose a lot of time and it really costs you throughout the lap. You can see we're up 2.5 tenths now on our previous best, and then we're looking to brake just before the start of the curb on the left hand side, down 2 gears and then move over to the right hand side. I missed the apex a little bit there, but kind of get away with it and able to get on the power nice and early, and then braking as late as possible after the start of the curbs on the right hand side, trying to avoid that sausage. You can see I clipped it there and did lose a little bit of time, and then once you're on full power you can go flat through the right hand part as we head onto the Lewis Hamilton straight, the start finish line for the Formula 1 circuit. Then a quick dab of the brakes into turn 1 and down into 4th gear, but on the power straight away and then flat through the long sweeping left-hander, and then we want to be trail braking into this corner and shifting down into 1st gear, early upshift to 2nd, and then try and move over to the right hand side before returning back to the left hand side. That's probably my least favorite corner on the track, and it always feels a little bit awkward and clumsy. And then we can go flat through the left-hander as we head up to what is probably the trickiest braking zone on the track. So I'm going to be braking just before that turn left sign, down into 2nd gear, and then you want to move over the curb, quite a late apex there, taking a narrow entry into the final corner, down into 1st for a bit more rotation, and then short shifting up to 2nd to help with the wheel spin, and then once we're in a straight line, flat out all the way to the finish line. Obviously make sure you shorten that distance as much as possible, and we cross the line to do it at 1:57.4. Let's take a look at the setup then. The track conditions today were 16 degrees ambient and 21 degrees on track, and here are the pressures, toe and camber that I used for both the front and the rear. Able to go quite low with the traction control here with it on 2 and the ABS on 3. I did try 2, but it just didn't feel quite so good. I probably run traction control on 3 during the race. 14 litres of fuel gives us 2 flying laps, and we've got brakes on pad type 1, of course. So I've adjusted the mechanical setup to try to help take as much speed as possible through the fast corners, and also help to aid a bit more rotation in the car as well, so we don't go understeering off. Dampers, I think I've increased some of the slow values on the front and the rear, and decreased the fast values slightly, so I can take a bit more curb without having to worry about it. So onto the aero then, and you can see I've got the rear wing on 6. I did try it on 7, but the car was just a bit too understeery through the fast corners, and you probably just end up getting eaten alive on these straights in this car if you're running too much aero. I do have the front ride height on minimum, and the car was hitting the ground on one of the bumps just after turn 1, which meant I had to turn the TC off so it didn't kick in. So you might want to raise that front ride height just a little bit to avoid that, but I was happy enough to just turn the TC off each lap. Now, as always, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, then give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, then don't forget to, so you don't miss another setup video in the future.